All right, rockers. Well, that was a double shot of Brother Kane, and you can't go wrong with that. But how cool is it for us to have on the phone right now, founding member, lead guitarist, and singer of Brother Kane? It's Damon Johnson. Damon, how are you, sir?
Dave, I'm great. It's really cool to talk to you, man.
Oh,
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I have one of my favorite artists on the phone, so I'm like a boy fan. So I'm giddy right now. I'm enjoying this.
Well, hey, man, just get as giddy as you like. We are fans of enthusiastic people anywhere on the planet. So
You're
I appreciate that, man. It's
no,
really
you're
cool to get to talk to you.
You are absolutely awesome, and I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation that we had last year when you were over here with Black Star Riders on that support tour with Saxon and Judas Priest. But enough of that. You've got something coming around the corner. You got a brand new solo album, Memoirs of an Uprising. It's going to drop later this year. Tell us a little bit about the album.
Yeah, man, there's a lot to tell, especially it's like, because I remember us spending some time together when I was touring with BSR last year. And, it was kind of at the end of that tour that, my family and I had been thinking about it and talking about it. And we decided we felt like it was time for me to focus my efforts into my own music. And, it's all love and respect with the guys from Black Star Riders. I've had such a great experience with them over the last 6 years. We made 3 quality albums together.
Big time.
Yeah, man, those guys are making another record as we speak. So I kind of was sitting on my new record. I had it almost ready to go. I had a few mixes to finish. So, yeah, man, I've put a great team together to help me, and Memoirs of an Uprising comes out March the 8th on my own imprint, Double Dragon Records.
Cool.
And the first single is a song called Shivering, Shivering that I couldn't be more proud of. Most of these songs I co-wrote with a longtime friend and musical collaborator, Jim Troglin. We kind of grew up in the Birmingham, Alabama music scene, just before I put Brother Kane together. So I've known Jim for a long, long time. And, man, I got a great band, musicians, friends of mine right here in Nashville where I've lived for the last 6 years, world-class musicians. And, it's just an honor, man. I'm so flattered to have guys of their caliber that want to go out and work with me and play shows and play all this music from throughout my career. So you're catching me at a really I guess an inspired moment, Dave. I feel great about everything that's happening, and it's cool to get to talk with you about it.
That's cool. Now let me ask you, because you have been so busy. I mean, extremely busy. The 3 albums with the Black Star Riders, also doing stuff with the Thin Lizzy stuff. Um, when you sat down, is the material on this album stuff that was written years ago, or did you, when you got off the road, did you and your buddy sit down and just start doing? How did that happen?
That's a great question. No, all these are new songs.
Cool.
Nine of the 10 songs are brand new. They've been written in the last year and a half, I guess. And but I will go back in the calendar. Back in 2016, I put out a 5-song EP, and though it was a collection of older songs, that had been sitting around, and I really wanted to just kind of record them and have some fun and maybe put it out there.
Cool.
And I really believe now, looking back, Dave, that was maybe the catalyst for kind of my brain starting to crank up in this direction, of getting back behind the microphone full time and, just being an artist again. I haven't really been a full-time artist on my own since back in the Brother Kane days, and it's been really fulfilling, to get people's reactions. Certainly here in North America, there are a lot of fans that have expressed their excitement at me returning to the mic, and certainly, man, when I go out and perform now with my band, we revisit lots of those Brother Kane songs, and I also play material from some of the other great bands, man, that I've been a part of over the last decade, if it's Thin Lizzy, if it's Alice Cooper or Black Star Riders. So it's just a lot of good stuff happening, man, and I'm playing more guitar than ever before.
Cool.
I'm singing more than ever before, and
we like that. We like that because really, I remember asking, well, Black Star Riders, three good guitar players in one band. I mean, so you're kind of limited on really what you can do, right? And how much.
Well, listen, man, I never ever felt limited
Okay.
in Black Star Riders. You know, a lot of credit for that goes to Scott Gorham. He could not have been more gracious and, in a way, man, almost like pushing me out to the front. You know, like,
Cool.
look, man, you've been doing this almost as long as I have. You're a fine player, and Scott also knew that my influences were, you know, he and I had a lot of music in common as well, besides just Thin Lizzy. So, wow, it's just hard for me to express my gratitude and respect to Scott and Ricky and all those guys. I think the experiences I had in Black Star Riders, particularly in the studio writing and recording, that really has played a lot, you know, a big role in what I'm doing now. So,
Cool.
You know, it just got my songwriting chops back up, got my studio chops back up. It was great. It was a great experience.
Very cool. And you mentioned Brother Kane, and then when Brother Kane breaks up, you go to Alice Cooper, and then you're in the room with Alice Cooper and you're writing songs with him. Tell us, what was that like to work with Alice Cooper and to tour with Alice Cooper?
That was really mind-blowing, Dave, because, you know, that kind of came out of nowhere.
Really?
I was kind of in my third year post Brother Kane and was really kind of content, man. I was playing a little bit with some friends around Alabama. I had just gotten remarried. My wife and I were expecting our first child together. Mm-hmm. And I was producing. I had made some records for some younger artists and
cool.
was having a good time. So the Alice Cooper call came out of nowhere. And obviously it was the thrill of a lifetime to get to play on stage with him in that production and that show. It's like nothing I had ever experienced, man. But the bonus that I just could never have predicted was shortly after the first 6 weeks of touring that we did, Alice wanted to go right into the studio. So I found myself in the room with him, you know, with pad and paper and pencils and guitars and starting, you know, I think we wrote 5 or 6 songs together on the Dirty Diamonds album.
How
together.
Cool.
So that was also a tremendous thrill.
Now, is it a requirement to be in Alice's touring band that you have to play golf? And did you play golf with them?
It is not a requirement, but I was already I had been falling in love with golf about 5 or 6 years prior to joining Alice's band. So he was elated to find that I enjoyed playing golf. And this is not an exaggeration, Dave. If we did, you know, 100 tour dates in a cycle, you know, in 1 year, then we played 80 rounds of golf minimum. Maybe closer to 100 because, you know, we would play on show days, we would play on off days. I remember one time, man, we had a string of like 17 days in a row that we played golf, you know, on a different golf course every day. So
cool.
If you're a golfer, man, playing with Cooper's a dream come true because he replaced drugs and alcohol with a golf addiction. So
it's a good addiction to have, especially if you can afford it.
Yeah, man, and so he's, you know, that's played a big role, man, in him managing, you know, drinking or whatever. So he's been sober for, gosh, man, probably 35 years now.
Yeah, a long time, since the 80s.
His story is so inspiring and so special. So, yeah, man.
We like Coop. Coop's a good guy.
Yeah. Great guy.
Also, what's really cool, and we're thankful to have you on the phone. Rockers, we are on the phone right now with founding member Damon Johnson of Brother Kane. He's founding member of Black Star Riders. He's rocked out with Thin Lizzy and Alice Cooper, as you just heard. But what's really cool is next Friday, February 15th, Tower Theater, Fresno, you're doing a very intimate acoustic solo show. Tell us a little bit about that and why you wanted to do the acoustic thing.
Well, I've done the acoustic thing several times a year, probably since 2000, maybe 2001, Dave. You know, I had always written songs on acoustic guitar.
Cool.
Even the heaviest Brother Kane songs, the majority of those started on an acoustic guitar. And but it really wasn't until the early 2000s that I started, going out and performing that way. And I found quickly that it was just as fulfilling and just as much fun as, being on a big stage, plugged in with a Marshall stack and a Les Paul and a big crowd. And, I enjoy that, man. And I've got so many great songs in my repertoire that I'm proud of. It gives me the opportunity to tell some stories about the creation of some of the songs.
Cool.
And I also get to play some of my favorite songs by other songwriters,
Nice.
that have inspired me or pushed me. So, yeah, and I'm so excited to be coming to Fresno, man. I remember very clearly Brother Kane playing a show in Fresno back in
Getty Factory.
Yeah, that was it, man.
I was there up front rocking, man. Absolutely. Big Brother Kane fan. Got all three of the albums.
Wow. Well, I just, Fresno is one of those places I just felt like, okay, well, this is great, man. There are rock and roll fans here. This is a place that I'll come and play, the rest of my life. This will be awesome.
Yeah.
And I just haven't been able to come there that often. So,
well, we're really glad that you are coming back. I mean, this is a really cool event. And if you don't know, he's going to be playing in the lounge at the Tower Theater. This is going to be an up close and personal kind of thing, which I really dig. And it sounds like you're doing from your catalog and favorite song from other artists, but it's almost like a storyteller kind of deal too. Where you're sitting back and it's just you, the guitar, and us sitting back watching and listening to the stories. That's cool.
It kind of is that, Dave. I mean, I definitely try to keep the energy of the music going. I've been to see other guys that I felt like, wow, he talks too much. I just wish he would play. I wish he would just play and sing and maybe not tell so many stories. But I feel like I have a good balance with all of that.
Good.
And, I never play the same set list twice, ever.
Wow.
And, I've got a couple go-to songs that I like to get started with, and then we just kind of make it up as we go from there. And that's so inspiring for me, man. I enjoy that so much. And to get to come to the Tower Theater like that, it's such a great venue. And, I'm grateful. There's a lot of people talking about this show in the Fresno area. So really proud to be coming there. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun for sure.
I'm looking forward to it. It was actually kind of weird because, Brother Kane gets together in 1990. I moved to this area in 1990, and you were one of the first shows that I had actually seen there. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, it was
man.
Good stuff, man, and been a fan ever since, and I'm ecstatic to be able to see you do an acoustic show. And so, hey, rockers, buy your wife some roses, but take her to this show on Friday night, February 15th at the Tower Theater. You can get your tickets also, too, at towertheaterfresno.com.
That's great, Dave. That's a great point to make, man. That show on the 15th is the perfect place for you to bring your Valentine.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, man, and have a cool experience. Well, I promise you, we'll have a good time.
I'm already excited, and I know I'm not going to be let down. I've seen you perform. You're a great performer. You're a great singer, and a phenomenal guitar player. Now let's go. You've worked with kind of the who's who of people. You've been very lucky. I mean, to think that the guy from Brother Kane, you've worked with Alice Cooper. Obviously the guys with Thin Lizzy, but you were involved in a project that it was one of the first all-star bands, Tommy Shaw, Jack Blades, and Ted Nugent. You worked on an album with the Damn Yankees that never made it to the shelves. What was that like working with those three guys?
Oh, I had the best time. Mm-hmm. I had just the best time. And, those guys were in a bit of a transition. And Tommy Shaw had just acquired the rights to the name Styx. They had parted ways with Dennis DeYoung. Mm-hmm. So he was going to need to focus his energy on getting that up and going, with the new version of the band. So he had given Ted and Jack his blessing to go out and bring someone else in, mm-hmm. so that they could finish the record. They had started a few songs together, but not enough for a complete album. So between their A&R man, the world famous John Kolodner, who had been a fan of Brother Kane and had been keeping an eye on my activity for pretty much the past decade, he reached out. I had sent him a few songs I'd been working on, and he wound up sending it to Ted and to Jack. And Ted spoke up quick because he was a big Brother Kane fan.
Cool.
We had toured with him. We played in Detroit dozens of times, and so, you know, we were definitely, I was on his radar for sure. So I flew out. We spent a weekend together playing and did a little bit of writing, and then I came back like 2 weeks later, man, and stayed for several days. I remember staying at Jack and his wife Molly's house, and you know, we worked really hard, man, wrote some more songs, and wound up going in and recording a complete album. Tommy came in, sang some vocal, you know, background, some harmonies on some things. We were having a great time, and I really don't know how else to tell it other than when we all got the finished mixes of the record, we were all very underwhelmed. And we just didn't feel like it was the thing. We just didn't feel like it was good enough, Dave.
Wow.
You know, we needed more time. We felt like the album could have used maybe a couple more songs, definitely a remix. And, you know, all those guys got really busy with their other things.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
Tommy
sad.
went back to Styx, Jack went back to Night Ranger, Ted did his thing, and
and Tommy's on the road all the time with Styx.
Yeah, man. I mean, seriously, that's been like a 20-year.
Oh yeah. Oh
job.
yeah.
So,
oh yeah. He's either on the road
you know,
with REO Speedwagon or somebody. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And I respect that they all, I believe, they all knew instinctively that, hey, if we're going to put out another record, it's got to be special. And I just don't know that we had that one special song,
Gotcha.
that one undeniable song to kind of mount the entire campaign around, you know, to come out with. But
Gotcha.
I have nothing but great memories from that. And, you know, I see all those guys from time to time. And,
Very cool.
And a lot of respect, and it was a good experience.
So in here's another great band that you've worked with. You helped work on the, I believe it's the 10th studio album of Queensryche. Now, what was that like? Because that's prog rock, it's rock. You know, it was a whole different kind of, you know, Queensryche is way different than a Brother Kane or a Damn Yankees in the style of music. What was that like?
Yeah, man, Queensryche's such a great band, and you know, of course, this was several years ago when Jeff Tate was still in the band, and they were all really unified in what they were doing. And it started really simply. Jeff heard a piece of music that I had worked on with our mutual friend, great guitar player Kelly Gray, and Kelly played this idea for Jeff, and Jeff immediately went, "Wow, I love this. I love this melody. Do you think Damon would be cool if I, you know, maybe wrote a new lyric for it?" Because he had this whole concept in his head. So Jeff called and he said, "Hey man, you know, what do you think?" I was like, "By all means, man. You know, if you feel that strong about it, for sure, man." It was flattering. You know, definitely an honor.
Cool.
So they wound up doing that with 2 songs. And you know, I wasn't in the studio when they recorded, but I was definitely pretty stoked to get those, you know, get emails with those songs in it, you know, and get to listen to it and go, yeah, wow, there's Queensryche playing a song of mine. You know, that's something I had something to do with writing. So yeah, that's usually how those things work, man. I've even though I've been a songwriter my whole career, I'm not one of those guys that's in pursuit of, you know, those kinds of opportunities. I just try to kind of follow my own path. I have a lot of great friends in the business, a lot of musicians, you know, that I've crossed paths with through the years. And when that mutual respect is there, a lot of times you'll create an opportunity to maybe write something together. And then you never know where that song is going to go from there once it's finished. You don't know where it's going to wind up. So that was certainly an example.
That's
of
cool.
That
now, did that happen because 2001, we have a collaboration of members from Brother Kane and Queensryche coming together for a side project called Slave of the System, which there were a couple of songs that I really enjoyed. Now, how was that coming together with some of your band members from Kane and then hooking up with the guys from Queensryche?
Yeah, that's really how that started.
Is it?
Kelly produced the third Brother Kane album, Wishpool, and he and I became great friends, great collaborators. Kelly's one of the most talented people I've ever met in my life. So, ironically, the very following year, he winds up replacing Chris DeGarmo in Queensryche as the new guitar player, because Kelly he went to high school with Jeff, and it's just a whole kind of incestuous story, man. Those guys have been friends forever up there in Seattle.
Yeah.
So, very quickly, when he started playing with Queensryche, I remember him telling Scott Rockenfield about me and about Roman, my bass player from Brother Kane. So that's literally how that started. And, Kelly and I work together to this very day, Dave.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Kelly did the mastering of my new album, and we've got 2 or 3 songs in the cooker that we're working on. We've even talked about the possibility of a remastered version of that Slave to the System album with, maybe a couple of additional tracks, because we have some other songs that are just as strong as the ones on the album.
Cool.
So I'm hoping that can materialize sometime in the next year or so.
As I do as well. That would be really cool. Okay, we're going to only do one more question about the past work. Okay, Brother Kane, 1990, you guys break up in 98. You get back together in 05. You do 2 shows. Okay, did you record those shows?
I don't think so, man.
We going to be able to hear it or see it?
We did a couple shows, and I remember one was we were part of a charity event to raise money for a much respected musician friend of ours that was struggling with cancer, and had a great, amazing turnout for that. Cool. And it's like, I love when people ask about Brother Kane, and the good news is that we all are great friends. We keep in touch.
Good.
We've got a little group text, and we communicate from time to time. All those guys are super busy, and I know they have an eye on what I'm doing, and they certainly are aware of this moment for me right now as a full-time solo artist. So, I would never say never about getting together with those guys and doing something. It's just so hard, Dave, when everyone gets older. You have families, you have kids, you've got
priorities.
It's really difficult to get everyone's schedule to line up perfectly. It's really difficult. So, and I'm not gonna beat around the bush. That was one of the reasons I was ready to move on from Black Star Riders. It's, you have to commit full time to a great band like that and an opportunity like that. But it was really, it made my calendar so challenging every year, trying to line up with things when my kids are out of school or my wife's birthday or whatever, and that's just part of it. That's what it is for all of us in the music business. Those are the challenges that never change. But I just reached a point in my life where I just wasn't gonna suffer that any longer, and I wanted to be able to have more control over that. So
good for you.
I just feel so fortunate that, reaching that moment, I had this pretty solid record in the can, ready to release. So, I guess to put a period on the end of the Brother Kane question, that's what's so fulfilling for me right now is I get to play all those songs from Brother Kane.
Yeah.
Got No Shame, and Fools Shine On, Hard Act to Follow, Wishpool, I Lie on the Bed I Make. My band, my solo band, they own that stuff. They play it so fantastic.
Cool.
And, the fans are feeling it. I'm certainly feeling it. And so proud of what Brother Kane accomplished and the music that we made. And goodness, I learned so much, back in the 90s, being a part of that. And but you never know, man. Cool. I would be honored to share the stage with those guys in the original band.
No, that would be great. I'm sure many fans, and we're on a couple of different radio stations, and we have people listening to us throughout the nation. I'm sure they'd all be happy. Although those two shows, if somebody recorded those, that would be great to get the video or the audio on that, just to see that reunion. So now we're moving to 2019. You got a brand new album coming out, Memoirs of an Uprising. What is behind the title of this album, Damon?
I thought I was going to name the album. I was just going to use one of the titles of the songs. I've got some really colorful titles throughout these 10 songs. And so I had been moving forward with the mixing and the mastering and even the artwork, thinking that was my plan. But as I started listening to the final mixes, I realized when you listen to them in sequence, I felt like there was a bit of a thread running through it. It almost felt like it could be a book or even a journal or something like that. So, cool. A friend mentioned, he said the word uprising, which I love, but I immediately recognized that's the title of that incredibly iconic Bob Marley record, Uprising. So I kind of put that idea out of my head, but as I said a minute ago about the concept of a book or a journal, that word memoirs came in my head. And I remember where I was driving back into the neighborhood where my house is. I just turned past the stop sign and I thought, Memoirs of an Uprising. And that was it. It's such a great feeling, man, to know that you have found what you believe is the perfect title for, a body of work or a group of songs. And,
that is cool. After you're going through a stop sign, that's just amazing.
After I ran the stop sign. Yeah.
That's so cool. Okay, so we're really happy on February 15th. You're going to be here doing an acoustic show at the Tower Theater, which rockers, go get your tickets. Tower Theater, box office, towertheaterfresno.com. Go get them. Support this. I got to ask you, because your new album is going to be coming out. Are you planning on doing a full-scale U.S. tour, or are you just going to kind of see what happens and kind of pick and choose some shows here and there?
Absolutely doing a full-scale U.S. tour. I mean, it's kind of the perpetual tour, to be honest with you, Dave.
Why is that?
The dates are stringing together as we speak.
Cool.
That's kind of what my work day is like now throughout the week is, on the phone with my agent or on the phone with my publicist or whatever, and we're just, we're all working in Congress to spread the word about Damon Johnson and his new record. So I've got a run of dates that I'm honored to be supporting a great band, the Winery Dogs. We're going to be playing some dates in the Midwest.
I wish you were coming out here. I love the Winery Dogs. Planning on going and seeing them.
Yeah, great band, man.
Absolutely.
And, there's some festival stuff coming together, things like that. But one thing I definitely wanted to mention to you is that even though the official release date of my album is not until March the 8th, I'll be coming to Fresno next week with physical copies of the whole thing. I've got,
really?
Yeah, man. I got the CDs. I have a gorgeous red colored vinyl that I could not possibly be more proud of. It's
cool.
one of the proudest things I've ever been a part of in my whole career. So
that is cool.
I'll definitely have that stuff in tow with me when I play Fresno next week. So,
sweet. That's really cool.
If anybody's interested in checking out the whole thing, I'll definitely have it there.
Come and get the merch, guys. Come and get the merch. Okay, I got to go back real quick. If you can just tell Mike Portnoy and Billy Sheehan and Richie Cousin that you would love to do the West Coast swing of that tour, I would be really stoked on that. I got to see the one.
Yeah, man. Well, those guys, they've got such a cool band, and I really respect how they have grown that thing over the last 5 years. And I assure you, they have no shortage of requests from all kinds of bands and artists, to come out and support them. So I feel really lucky to be doing the 8 or 9 shows that I am.
Cool.
Already.
Well, I think we're all kind of lucky because there was really a time and period where we didn't think that the Winery Dogs were going to get back together. Richie was doing his own thing, and Billy and Mike went off to do Sons of Apollo. and all that. So it's really cool that they actually announced it. And then hell, I almost want to take a Midwest trip so I could see the electric show, your show, and everything. All right, so
Well, I appreciate that, Dave, and I assure you, man, I'll be on the West Coast with my band in one way or another
whew,
very soon.
cool.
Guaranteed, man. We'll
No,
be
that's
there.
cool. Can we have a little fun before we get out of here?
What you got?
I just want you to ask whatever comes quick to your mind. What do you prefer, CD, MP3, or vinyl?
Vinyl.
Right on. What was the first album you ever bought or was given to you as a gift that you can remember?
Bachman Turner Overdrive's Greatest Hits.
Nice. Cool. First concert you went to?
Boston with opening act Sammy Hagar.
Oh, my Lord. That is awesome. That's a great show right there. The Red Rocker with Boston. Very cool. If you had your fantasy band, okay, anybody that you haven't played with, living or in the past, who would you like to jam with?
Whew, that's tough.
It is a tough one.
See, I'm failing at your game because
no, I'm not. I'll redo this. No, I'll redo this because actually this is a better one for me. Give me give me your guitar influences.
My guitar influences.
Please.
Malcolm Young.
Really, rhythm.
Stevie Ray Vaughan. Neil Young.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Moore. Wow. Edward Van Halen. Jimi Hendrix.
That's nice. That's a great stable right there.
Peter Frampton.
Oh.
And Steve Marriott.
Nice. Very cool.
Steve Lukather.
Wow. I love Steve, man.
The monster.
He is.
What a great player.
Yeah.
All the guys from Skinner, certainly Ed King.
Yeah.
From the Atlanta Rhythm section.
Oh, nice.
Jeff Carlisi from 38 Special. Guys are big influences.
Very cool. All right, we are coming to end of your interview, and I want to thank you, Damon Johnson, for calling Din Leather, hosted by Viking Dave. Rockers, before we get out of here, we just want to remind you one thing. February 15th, Tower Theater. Damon Johnson is doing an intimate solo acoustic show, and we urge you all to go there. I'm going to be there. I hope that you're there. Get your tickets at the Tower Theater box office. You can also get them at towertheaterfresno.com. Let's support this live music. You know how this show is all about the live music. We support this. These guys keep coming back to our town. I would like for you, as you have the brand new album, Memoirs of an Uprising, pick one song off the album and tell us a little bit about it. And as soon as we're done, we're going to spin this song.
Dave, thank you so much, man. I would be super stoked for you to play the first track on the album, which happens to be my first single. The song is called Shivering, Shivering. And my friend Jim and I, this song came together early in the process, and there was no question that once we finished that song, I felt like I had the platform to kind of spring from for the subsequent songs that came after that. I just love the vibe of it, the way the rhythm section felt, even the little demo that we made. It's just straight ahead, man. Rock and roll, a lot of simplicity. One of my favorite lyrics ever of any song that I've ever had a part of. And it's probably the song I have listened to the most in the last, certainly in the last year.
Really?
I haven't reached burnout on it yet, so that has to be a good sign.
That has to be a good song.
I love to play it live. I love to play it with my band. I love to play it on acoustic. I love to listen to it in my truck. So
cool.
Really proud of this song.
No, that's cool. Damon Johnson, you are a class act. I love the body of music that you've given me as a music lover. I appreciate the time that you've given the listeners of this show and myself. Where can all the fans of Damon Johnson follow you on social media? Let them know where they can follow you.
Dave, thank you, brother. The easiest thing to do is go to DamonJohnson.com. I've got hyperlinks to everything. My Twitter is Damon J Official. My Instagram is Official Damon Johnson. And on Facebook, you can go to Damon Johnson Fans. And I'm super, super engaged on all those formats now more than ever. And, man, we're just having a great time. We're having so much fun playing music, writing music, performing music, talking about music, and I'm really grateful to you, Dave, for this time.
Oh,
It
I'm
really
grateful
enjoyed
to
speaking
you for
to you.
giving me this time. Like I said earlier, I'm a boy fan, so this has just made my day. And I thank you so much for the time that you've given all of us. Looking forward to seeing you next Friday, in fact, in the Tower Theater in Fresno, California. It's going to be great. So all you
Thank
559
you, man.
rockers out there, get out there and support this. Hold on real quick, Damon.